I don't know if you can you see that? That says Outdoor Legacy Gear. And this is my new Sightmark Wraith digital night vision scope. So, little background. I started doing some research a while back on night vision kind of stuff. I looked at traditional night vision, I looked at digital night vision, even looked at thermal, which is amazing, but at this point I thought it might make sense not to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a thermal scope, maybe start out with something a little bit more reasonable. And the one that really came up as top-notch and very reasonably priced and something that would be a great starter is was the Photon RT 4 power, whatever, 4 to 42 or whatever it is. That just seemed like a great one. Now, if you, back to Outdoor Legacy Gear, if you do any research like I did, you're going to find that Outdoor Legacy Gear, Jason over at Outdoor Legacy Gear, Hans, East Texas, and the Late Night Vision Show will come up. If you're doing YouTube research, these guys are all over it. And I'll tell you, it was a great experience dealing with Jason over at Outdoor Legacy Gear. Let me finish my story about picking the model. So I looked at that Photon RT, and just about that time, the Sightmark Wraith information started hitting the internet, and people started talking about it. And if you look at the specs and the details, it is the next generation beyond the Sightmark RT. So without anybody having any hands-on with this, I went ahead and went to Outdoor Legacy Gear. I put my deposit down to get it, and that was a month ago. Put my deposit down to get one, and there at that point there wasn't even necessarily an expected ship date. Well, I called up Jason at Outdoor Legacy Gear, and it's funny, he actually answered the phone, and after watching him on YouTube, hearing his voice, and he answered the phone, kind of shocked me for a second, took me back for a second, and I got a little flustered, and I was like, I just placed an order for, and he's like, come on now, I don't know what you placed the order for. Anyway, Jason doesn't know me from Adam. He took the time to tell me what was going on with Sightmark, what his opinions were on the Wraith, what he was expecting to see from manufacturing, how many he ordered, how many were pre-ordered, and in fact, he had sold them all before he actually got his order in. So I was kind of on the waiting list. But anyway, here it is. We're March 29th, and my box came in, and I'm doing a real unboxing, because usually if I'm gonna do an unboxing, I would unbox something, pull it out, play with it, and then come back later and stick it back in the box and tell you I'm unboxing it. No. This is a real unboxing. I have not opened this box until right now. So here we go. There's the Sightmark Wraith. Look, I got a sticker here. Oh, and look at there. I got a koozie. Yeah, that's nice. I got Jason's business card. All right, let me set this box out of the way here. And look, I got a QD. One of the things that he recommended was the QD attachment. I'm putting this on a Noveski 5.56 AR-15. The thing was set up for competitive shooting, 1 in 9 twists, so not really the greatest nighttime hog hunting, because it's really made for shooting the smaller bullets. But anyway, there's the QD. I can't wait to figure that out. Let me package that up. I don't want to scratch it. Package that back up, and then what I'm really here for. And I wish I had a camera to face down on top of this. Oh my! Oh look, this the CR123A batteries. A couple of batteries in the package here. There may be some inside of it too, I'm not sure. But for the IR illuminator, that's what these batteries are for. I went to Walmart a few minutes ago and I got some, so now I got even more. So there's a little owner's manual, and looks like a cloth for cleaning the lens. And here we go. The Sightmark Wraith. So my first impression here, as you'd expect, it's heavier than a typical scope. Not incredibly heavy though. Got some ports on the side, SD card and USB port on the side. So I did at Walmart get some SD cards. You know what? Someone needs to make a website, call it the People of Walmart. Oh my. Yeah, that was something else. There's some strange people running around Walmart. Okay, here's the battery compartment. I gotta remember to hold this up so you. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it is threaded. There's threaded down the middle, so that screw absolutely screws in. 4 AA batteries go in there. I assume it's indexed, yes. So there's a notch, and I don't think the camera can see that, but there's a notch in there, and that notch has a little spot where it'll line up. So you put it on there right, and then just to finish the process, we'll screw it back down. Okay, so there's a couple of Allens on the bottom, and that's where you pull this mount off and put your QD mount on with those Allens. So I got a few more steps to go here. I've got to put batteries in it, got to get it mounted, put the QD mount on, put the gun on a scope. I'm probably going to put some batteries in it and turn it on and look out in the backyard and maybe collect some video doing that here in a minute. But I have my Sightmark Wraith mounted on a Noveske 5.56 223 AR-15, and I haven't had a chance to go hunting with it yet, but I do have a few thoughts on first impressions, mounting it, and a little bit of detail on the menu, in the menu options. First, this is I just want you to know that I'm new to night vision. I've never owned a digital night vision, any night vision of any kind for that matter. I've never owned a thermal scope with it, but looked through it a little bit, played around with it, and I wanted to provide some information about that. So first of all, on mounting, I did get the QD mount. I don't know if you can see it in this lighting, but this is a QD mount. Jason over at Outdoor Legacy Gear had suggested that. The old mount looks very similar to this, only it uses thumb screws. Basically has a couple of Allen heads. Unscrew the 2 Allen heads. The new mount QD has flat blade screwdriver. Only thing I suggest there is use the right size flat bladed screwdriver. I don't know what the torque specs are supposed to be, but tighten it down snug and don't overdo it. Simple enough, 2 screws, threw it on the rifle. For sight in, for my purpose, I got very lucky. I had a scope mounted on this that was zeroed at 100 yards. I put something out at about 30 yards, eyeballed it through the barrel, peeked up and saw where the scope was looking at, which was basically 1.5 inches above the target that I was looking at about 30 yards. I figured if I got the sight mark on there pretty close to that, that would get me on paper. So I mounted the Wraith. I adjusted the scope, which is a simple enough process. Eyeball through this. For me, this is more like a bore sighting scenario. Eyeball through the barrel, made sure it was on the target that I was aiming at, peeked up and took a look through the scope, did the reticle adjustment, a little left, a little down, got the reticle about to the same place where my original scope was aiming, and called it good. As it turns out, I took it out, first shot at 100 yards, was dead on. I had a 4x4 inch target that I was shooting at, 2 shots, nearly dead center at 100 yards. I was done. I wouldn't expect it to be that easy, but I happened to get lucky. It happens, not very often it happens. So the sight in was easy. I want to also mention that the IR illuminator, when I got it, was set to in its mount, so the IR illuminator was on the left side of the scope. And I'm going to tell you that if you're a right-handed user and you're holding gun and trigger with your right hand, using your left hand to manipulate the scope and the light, that you want to take this light off, flip it around in the mount, and move it to the right side of the scope. And I'll show you why. As a left-handed user, imagine this. First of all, when trying to manipulate the buttons with my free hand, the IR illuminator is in the way. Also, trying to adjust the focus is nearly impossible with this hand. Now that I've moved it over to the right-hand side, I'm on the rifle. It's very easy for me to manipulate the buttons, and it's very easy for me to reach up here and adjust the focus. So that's suggestion number one. Another thing is the manual. The manual's a little lacking in information, which is actually fine because everything I've done with this is very intuitive. I did not need the manual to figure anything out. One thing is it does not mention the SD card that's required in the manual. Now, I think I saw in Outdoor Legacy Gear it said that 64 gig SD card was supported, and I'll put a picture up of the card I actually used. But I used a SanDisk 64 gig micro SD XC UHS-1. It's a class 10 micro SD card. It works. I've recorded with it. I've pulled the recordings off. Everything seemed to work fine. So that worked. So talk about the menus just a little bit. So when you look at the, call it keypad, if you will, there's a center button. Brief touch when the unit is turned off will turn it on. In order to turn it off, you have to press and hold the button down, and if you look at the screen, it'll give you a countdown. Shut off, 3, 2, 1. It'll go dark. When the unit is turned on, the up and down buttons will adjust your zoom. So and also just to point out, this is a base magnification of 4x. So when you're looking through the scope and you see 1x, you're at 4x magnification. If you click up one and it goes to 2x, you're at 8x magnification. I believe what you're going to find is you're not going to be able to use the full extent of the 8x digital magnification. I just don't think the picture quality is going to be there. But you'll have to see. I actually think that if this particular scope were in a 1x or a 2x and a 4K, I'm going to make that prediction. 1x base magnification, 2x base magnification, and 4K video capability from Sightmark. I'll bet you that happens, because this thing is already incredibly amazing as it is. I think for 4x magnification, for shooting inside 100 yards, you know, a lot of stuff might happen inside 50 yards. I'd like to have a little less magnification. So far, it seems that way, but like I said, I haven't hunted with it yet, so we'll see. Anyway, it's still great. On your left and right, when the unit is turned on, left will cycle between the day and night and the green screen, if you will, mode. Nighttime green screen is, I believe, what it is. On the right, press the right arrow button once, it starts recording. press the button again, and it will stop recording. A little bit on the menus. So I'm gonna look through the scope and talk a little bit about the menus. First off, if the center button is the on-off button, it's also the select button. So a quick touch is the select option. Here's a good point. If you are recording your scene, you cannot go into the menu and change menu. That's a new one on me. I was hoping to record what I was seeing in the scope so I could cut that into the video. Obviously not going to be able to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna look through here and read it off to you real quick. So first setting at the top is brightness. If you hit the select button, you'll get to a slider bar. Use the up and down to adjust the brightness. I'm going to say that's going to be a very common setting for you to change. I did find myself in nighttime mode turning the brightness down in some scenarios, and in daytime, depending on the lighting and the conditions, I was tending to make some adjustments up and down based on that. So it's the number one, it's the first setting, and probably something you're going to use pretty often. Go down one, you're to reticle settings. Go into reticle settings, and you can get reticle color. You can get your reticle style, and you set your 0 in there. And that again is up, down. Hit select, make your adjustments based on that. There's a playback. I have not used that one yet. I assume you can go in and play back the video recordings that you have on your card. Next one down is settings, and this one, resolution settings. I'm not sure why anybody would not just select the 1080 resolution setting, but maybe just save space on a card, but I couldn't imagine. Let me see there. Resolution, yes, 1080 HD. Record mode, video or photo. I'm not sure why you would want to just take pictures, but I guess someone might. Format card. I did install my 64 gig card, and I did format it, and it did work. Firmware, I assume over time there's going to be some firmware updates. I'm sure if you go in there, it'll tell you what version you're currently on. And then time and date. Be sure to set your time and date, especially if you're going to do recordings, if you want to keep that information correct. And then weapon select. So far I only have one weapon, and it looks like you can go in there and enter some information on the caliber, grain of bullet, or whatnot. So that is a quick rundown of the operation. If I hit the left arrow and left arrow again, it backs out, and then I'm back into regular looking through the scope mode. So something else that I learned when I first turned this on at nighttime and I turned on the IR illuminator, all I saw was a big old whiteout. I saw nothing. And at that time I started to get a little nervous because I had left the manual at home, so I'm out there trying to figure out how to make this thing work, and I have absolutely no idea why I see a total whiteout. It was about that same point in time that I decided I wanted to move the IR illuminator from the left side to the right side, and I realized that the IR illuminator, it articulates. So the way that this is mounted in this mount allows it to move around. Well, I really quickly figured out that the whiteout was happening because my IR illuminator was aiming at directly what was in front of the scope, and it was just washing it out. And as I moved the IR illuminator away from my target and my line of sight, everything came into clear vision. So I don't know if you are supposed to figure out where your IR illuminator goes and then finally lock it down so it doesn't move, or if you are supposed to, while you're out using the scope, make some minor adjustments to the IR illuminator, articulate it to bring the light in and out of your target depending on maybe range or the power settings or whatnot. Maybe if you know, you can let me know, comment below. But anyway, I did figure out the IR illuminator, aiming directly at the line of sight, would absolutely wash out anything that you were looking at. So I think that's all that I have. 4 AA batteries here. The 123A batteries in the IR illuminator. There's a pair that comes with the unit, and I happen to buy some extras there. And then the SD card, which I mentioned, were some purchases that I made outside of that. So far so good, and hopefully I'll have some hunting footage coming real soon. All right, thanks.